In the 1980s, directors Frank Capra and Martin Scorsese proposed to Congress a preservation bill for movies in their original format. This was later introduced to only preserve movies deemed culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. Now, what does this have to do with being an epic gamer? That's because people around the world are trying to save games that companies own but haven't done well to preserve. So I thought to myself, which games deserve that? For my choice, I don't want them to be too old, no Pong, Pac-Man, or Street Fighter 2. I only want to go as far as back as around the 2000s. I'm sticking to the original criteria for movies. Most here won't just be great, but in their own way have remained in the subculture's consciousness or has made long-term effects to this industry. Let's get started. No better way to start this off than the video game that sparked this idea, Dark Souls. This is the game that inspired the creation of the subgenre Souls-like. Most games are difficult at the highest setting, but this is hard by default. If your game has parrying weapons, excessively dodging and dying in an arena, and a high difficulty, someone will compare it to Dark Souls, and they're likely not wrong. Next up on the list, Halo 2. Before I explain why I chose 2 over 1, let me explain its impact. This is the Xbox system's most iconic mascot. It's critically acclaimed, selling twice as many copies as the original Halo, and unlike the first, its online features are more easily accessible. This game is one of the earliest examples of an online multiplayer being mainstream and fully supported by its company. This is very important to the online gaming market. When interviewing people about which games to choose, people were quick to pick Grand Theft Auto, as they should be. It's an iconic series with it and Mortal Kombat being popular examples for questioning if video games cause violence. It popularized the idea of sandbox games, and it's really good. With that decision, I had one question left. Which one? I decided on San Andreas. Almost no one played 1 and 2, with 4 and 5 already being built on something well established. Also, I feel like out of the early 3D games, San Andreas is the most referenced. It's why I picked it. After that, we have The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. This choice goes against my previous logic, as its sequel, Skyrim, sold over 50 million more copies than Oblivion. Therefore, it should be picked, right? Besides having better memes, Oblivion has something that Skyrim doesn't: horse armor. That's right, this game is a famous early example for microtransactions in a AAA game. This isn't a positive impact on the industry, but it's an impact, and it'd be wrong to deny that. Much like Konami, we're ignoring Silent Hill to present the most iconic video game horror franchise, Resident Evil. Ironic, since I won't be mentioning the first game or its incredible remake. Instead, the sequel that blew both out of the water, RE4. This is the game that, for better or worse, switched the series to be more action-oriented. At first, I was just going to mention the iconic over-the-shoulder camera angle, but then I found out that they set the standard for a precision aim function. I don't even know what that is. Also, critically acclaimed games such as Dead Space, BioShock, and Arkham Asylum credit RE4 as their inspiration. Did I mention this series also spawned a Devil May Cry? Yeah, a game from this franchise deserves a spot. It would be wrong of me to talk about the history of video games and not mention something made by an independent studio. There's a lot to choose from: Five Nights at Freddy's, Hollow Knight, and The Stanley Parable, to name a few. Instead, I want to choose one from 2010, a year for when indie games started to receive mainstream attention. I know the choice is obvious here: Minecraft. It's one of the first video games to have early access and one of the best-selling video games of all time. Weird to say, but I enjoyed watching people play this online more than the game itself. I don't like it when games give me too many choices. Also, I really wanted to put Super Meat Boy on here. It inspired Cuphead and came around the same time as Minecraft, but it's just not as popular. Moving on. This may come as a surprise to some, but by my own criteria, Overwatch more than qualifies. This is a game that popularized the term hero shooter, which dozens of games have mimicked since then. It was a popular esports game to play. There's an inhuman amount of Rule 34 based around these characters. All of that has shifted the internet and industry. I'm convinced those artists are the main thing keeping that series alive right now. I don't know, let me know if this is a bad choice or not. Okay, so originally I was gonna end it at Overwatch, end it on something recent. Then it clicked. Rather than mention a game, I'm gonna mention a company, Valve. They created Left 4 Dead, Team Fortress, Portal, and Half-Life, all beloved and important in their own right. They created Steam, a website that gives indie games a platform to challenge AAA companies, and said companies flock to for support once they're done shooting themselves in the foot. While Gabe, the man behind this company, is still around, I don't hesitate to say that Valve is the most important company for PC and indie gaming history. If not for them, it would never have advanced so fast. That's all I have to say. Thank you for watching.